spoke and I asked them, well, what was the first thing that came up? Just intuitive, first word, the first letter that came up, or the first feeling, or the first sensation, the first image that came up. And I said, well, what's in the root chakra? And they said, well, it's like it feels dull and dark. Okay, so right there, it's a communication. And immediately when you say that and when we check in with the chakra, that's exactly what's happening there. So I understand that sometimes it feels like you're not able to see, or you're not able to identify what's going on. But I really would like to remind you, we are just learning how to train our intuitive mind, the mind-body connection. And so we need to practice and open that dialogue. And sometimes, because we're so used to having external communication, like we're hearing someone talk to us, or we're seeing some gestures, we have to be able to learn how to pick up those things. When you're a child, you learn to pick up that communication. As you grow up, you know, you watch what your parents do, you pick up information, and as you get older, even as an adolescent, you learn from society how they behave, what they do in order to communicate certain expressions. And we kind of have to have the same training in ourselves when we are learning how to communicate with the body. So there will be a learning curve. It will take some time. So I want you to be very patient with yourself. When I talk about visualization, I mean, it doesn't mean you have to see it like something right in front of you, okay? It's not something that you have to see right in front of you. And remember, we are using the five senses to communicate with the body. And a lot of times that communication, if you watch a movie, and I noticed this in my journey, okay? I know a lot of you that are empathic. If you're listening to a lot of music or radio, or you're watching TV or music, or listening to constant videos or something like that, your mind, you're training your mind to pay attention to external patterns of frequency. And so that creates a disconnect between the communication and the body. So we have to bring it back to the body. We have to sever those connections, clear it out, because your entire multidimensional body becomes fuzzy because it's taking on these patterns of information. So we have to clear our space, come back to center. And the easiest way for you to tap into the best, to your intuitive abilities, is by closing the first three chakras. Okay, because this disconnects you from those cords that are being connected to those external sources of information, and they bring your attention back into the body so that you can focus on what's going on inside. So have patience with yourself. It's a dialogue. Let me take a look at the chat, and you guys have some messages here. Okay, some of you felt frustrated. Well, let's take a look at that. Why were we frustrated? What was happening? Danielle says, I actually fell asleep, and when I went to work with my chakras, I didn't see any color. And the first thing that came up when I became aware again was that my root chakra was locked. Very interesting. Okay. So the thing is that we're not used to checking in with the chakras. This should be a daily, if not momentarily throughout your day. We should be focusing on checking in with what's happening. Remember, these are the routers. They are like routers. They are receiving information. They're also giving information. And so everything that's around us, we're constantly recording. Today, I want to talk about an incredibly important topic that has to do with the dynamics of energy exchange, with your energetic body, with how you read things around you, the exchanges of information that occur when we are uh, reading and utilizing our intuitive abilities, and the laws of the universe. We're going to be talking about free will. What happens when the human, this incredible human that we are embodied infinite consciousness, becoming aware of ourselves through all multiple possibilities of experience? So when we talk about free will and we talk about healing, for example, we have an example here about someone that checked in with the chakra and they recognized that it was actually locked, that it was out of disconnected. So what happens then? Who is imposing the free will? Are we really free will? Do we have the choice to become aware of our system? Do we have the choice to be working with the systems? the information that's within the body, or are we externalizing our need for information? In the spiritual community, a lot of things happen that take and misconstrue the laws of the universe when it comes to do with free will. The laws of the universe state that as a sovereign entity, as this fractal of infinite consciousness that has chosen to experience individuality in a sense, just the way the entire universe was created, this experiential aspect of this infinite consciousness became separate from that source in order to experience itself. It felt like it wanted to be its own God, its own power. And so it disconnects from its source and it begins to create things. It begins to apply its creation abilities. So it starts to breathe life into these other objects that will be subjects or extensions of themselves in order to feel power, in order to be in control, in order to exercise its creative ability. But in doing that, what this consciousness doesn't realize is that when you breathe life into something else, you give away your life force. And if you're not aware of maintaining balance in those exchanges, your whole self becomes out of balance. And this is how ourselves, this same example, this is as this creation of the universe. These are the laws of creation. When this infinite consciousness comes into experience individuality, it comes into different dimensions of the individual aspect. So the earth plane that we share here, okay, this physical three-dimensional matrix, four-dimensional matrix, where we are experiencing all of these material things, feelings and emotions are exercised, they are sensed, they are worked in this dimension. Okay. Because of that structure, we experience polarity and duality because those are the laws. The laws of creation in this universe are the laws of three. We have the divine feminine, the masculine, and when those unite in balance, they create life, right? A child is born. This child is your manifestation. That means when we want to manifest, we have to have the feminine aspect of ourselves in balance, the masculine aspect of ourselves in balance. And when those two are in balance, we can then create. When they're out of balance, we create out of balance, incomplete things. When your body is a constant magnet for suffering, pain, anxiety, trauma, you're a magnet for anxiety, pain, and trauma. So these are the laws of the universe. Now, within this creation story of the entire universe, based on the law of three, based on that creation, there is an incredibly important law that has to do with free will, which means that any being chooses how it wishes to experience that. Why? Because they made the choice to experience this polarity. The fact that you are a part of this giant organism of creation called the universe, connected to multiverses, means that you are exercising your ability to experience destruction or creation. Okay. So you come into your life, into this body, the soul comes and attaches. Don't forget, this is only one fractal of infinite fragments of yourself that are in past timelines. So past lives, some of you were Cleopatra, some of you are, King Arthur. We're cycling through these archetypes, which are connected and are a part of this matrix universe, of this earth planet, of this earth plane. The historical timeline of this little earth that we live on has certain archetype projections that when we incarnate into the physical body, the soul attaches to the physical body, it chooses to play certain roles. And based on its prior incarnations, which is obviously not a linear timeline, based on its access to the fragments of itself, which make up a whole organism, You are experiencing this earth plane. You're also experiencing another planetary experience, maybe an extraterrestrial, another timeline. And even on this planet, we are moving in and out of timelines constantly. Do you see how massive this exchange of energy and experience is happening? All because of you. Your center point of consciousness is choosing to navigate all of these possibilities. And we move through timelines in the waking time right now. There's things moving around us. There's entities that are a match to us. There are beings, there are ghosts, there are other historic events that are occurring here in the same space on other timelines. All play a role in your ability to experience this multitude of expression within polarity, within all of these ranges of possibility. Now, how does free will play in? Do we really have free will? Okay. Free will means that this soul has chosen to experience any of those momentary timelines. But when an aspect of yourself, when a fragment of yourself is unconscious, it's unaware of itself. Because of the way that this universe works, the opposite of that is a being that is parasitic in a sense, or not conscious, because it requires, it believes, it negates its own creation ability. It negates its own ability to manifest, to be, it negates the fact that it is a fractal of infinite consciousness, infinite creation. Anytime we come out of balance, we are going into that space. And that's why this organism gets ill. The organism gets sick. We start to develop and stagnate emotions, things that we can't accept, things that we can't believe, things that are stuck in the body that then manifest into a lower, heavy frequency that causes illness and stagnation in the body. So this is us negating. We forget because we get stuck in the illusion of life, in the experiences that are happening, the triggers, the little storylines, the trauma, the suffering, the pain. We let go, we forget about the body, and we think, oh, this is important. I need to focus on this. This is my new identity. When in fact, you are a massive organism of infinite consciousness. Do you see this? So how our free will gets hijacked, okay? There's no such thing as someone coming in without your permission. You, at some point, when you were not aware, when your body was unaware, when you were busy fighting this battle and making yourself feel unworthy, believing that you're not good enough, that you're not powerful, that you're not strong, while you're there, you're a vibrational match to this entity. So this entity comes and says, yummy food, right? I can feed off this. And comes in and merges with your timeline. But we magnetically called this aspect into our space. And so it connects and it begins to feed. And it's almost like the same way that parasites in your intestine work, in your tummy work, they almost as if they have a mind of their own, right? And over time, when those parasites take over, they tell you what you want to eat. They say, you don't want that apple, you want that cookie. And now you want cookies all the time. But it's not you, it's the parasite that wants the cookie. Because when it doesn't get the cookie, it has to be feeling those emotions of depression and exhaustion and overwhelm and loss and confusion. So all of these things work together, okay? Parasites and consciousness creation. So we have to take a really hard look at our life and notice at what points in our day, literally, hourly, momentarily, do we neglect and let go of our awareness in the body? Because what is happening on the other planes of existence, on other dimensions, is so profound. It doesn't just define this moment. It is written in your DNA. It's going to be going down the generations to your child. Everything that you're experiencing now, everything, you're either making the choice of creation or destruction, is being written in your DNA, and your child is taking that on. When they're born, when they're next to you, they absorb energetically, vibrationally. They feel everything that you feel, and they don't feel the outside happy face. They feel the sadness or the depression, the anxiety underneath, because they're as intuitive as you were when you were a child. So, in order to control and to become aware of when we let go of our free will, it is a very, very tricky grounds. And right now, more than ever, we have to become aware of how these laws of free will work. Because the way that this matrix or this illusion of life is created around us, all of these structures of society know that already. They've known that. And so everything is inverted. It is created from the inside out, based on the design that you will at some point let your guard into this space of unconsciousness. You're going to get lost in the illusion of your life, in the story of your life, and you're going to go into patterns which, when they're exercised, are wonderful for making money, for creating systems that are toxic, for maintaining you and suppressing you into that state of disconnect, depression, confusion, deception. Keep that in mind. And if you go further into looking at how all of these systems are operating, they is so intelligently know that. When you see this from the other side, you begin to recognize how so. You begin to recognize how these systems really manipulate. But let's look at another side of it now. What happens when we talk about healers? Okay, the healers that come and help. The healers that come into your space, they read your space, they tell you what's happening. Now, in order to get a healing from anyone, in order to allow anyone to come into your space, when somebody is exercising their intuitive abilities and they tap into your space for information, there is a connection here of information that's being exchanged. And if you're not aware of your body, people can come into your space, right? The law of the universe states nobody can come into your energetic space without your permission. So this is why yesterday's class about GPAC was so important. And today I want to work on, where do we let go of our free will? Where do we lose our aspects? How often throughout the day do we allow ourselves to completely disconnect from the body and just go into zombie mode, into hypnosis? Okay? Because when we're in hypnosis, we are highly suggestible. Once again, reinforcing these laws of the universe. Anytime that a subject, that an organism negates its own consciousness, it can be easily manipulated, controlled, changed, moved around. Okay. So this is what happens with television, with radio, with all of these things that are outside, that are patterns of frequency and information, that when you are not present in your body, come in and put suggestions. They put suggestions like, think about 10 seconds of watching television. You have 50 commercials of pharmaceuticals and about, I don't know, 3 hours long of illness, possible illnesses and side effects that you have to hear through. What do you think that does to you? It's subconsciously thinking, oh my gosh, what if I have this? What if I have that? Maybe I'm going to do this. Oh, I have that. I feel this. And so it's just feeding into this system in the subconscious mind, programming you deeper and deeper into a disconnect from your authority over this body, over this vessel. So in the healing realm, please understand, nobody can come into your space without your permission. So protection of your space is very important. Awareness of your space is important. Only when you allow readings, only when you allow people to tap in and give you information, is it okay. So remember this. And any time that we start to channel information, remember that you are receiving information from something, some intelligence, some organism that is feeding in information. So be very careful with that. Is this a consciousness that is attaching to your subconscious spheres? Or is it something that you are aligning and bringing in from your source self? Maybe it has the imagery of some being or something. Okay, this is very important. By the end of this session, by the end of the 30 days, my goal here is to help you connect with your higher self so that you can connect with that information that comes in and start to work with that information. Health in the body happens when we are congruent in all areas of our body and our mind. When we're not, we completely fall to the wayside, we get ill, things go out of balance. Right, so let's get started. I am gonna start working with you guys here. I want you all to take a really nice deep breath. You're going to ground yourself down to the center of the earth. Inhaling deeply and exhaling. We're going to practice connecting with our body, noticing what we have in our body that's foreign, that doesn't belong there. We're going to identify what belongs to us. And our free will is to choose whether we are conscious or not in this human experience. So as you ground yourself, bringing yourself fully into your body, tapping into your 5 senses, I want you to tune in to what you're hearing around you. What's around you? Who's around you? What are you picking up on? Going into your body now, the energetic body. Take your attention out around you. Notice how far out your energetic field extends above you, below you. I want you to create a protective field all around your body. Completely impenetrable field of energy around you. And noticing where you have openings in your space. Closing those spaces. Connecting from the core of your body all the way down to the center of the earth. We're going to start working with the root chakra at the base of your spine. Go ahead and close that root chakra down to the size of a dime. Disconnecting from any imbalances that are here within this space. I want you to visualize it. As you close it, you're going to tap in to anything that feels heavy in your space, anywhere that you see dark spots in the root chakra. Use your five senses. Not everyone is the same. Some people will hear things when they tap into the information. Some people will see things. Some will sense. Some will get words. Some will get images. Maybe you will feel things in your body. I'm going to go up to the sacral chakra. Close that chakra all the way down. Inhaling deeply and exhaling. I'm going to go up to the solar plexus now, center core. Closing that chakra all the way down to the sides of the ground. Noticing what is connected in this space. Disconnecting. Going up to the heart chakra, open that heart chakra. What's connected here? Take a look at that. Are we holding on things from the past, present? All of these things that we have in our space are governing our experience. Remember that. They define what we're going to attract next in our lives. And we make the choice of employing our free will by choosing if we want to continue patterns of programmed behavior or break those programs. So notice, how free are you? As you go up to your throat chakra, what blockages do you have in the throat? Are you freely able to express your needs without fears? Do you have a balanced perception of the feminine, the divine feminine, the divine masculine in your life? Families? Or do we continue to play out the programs that are provided by society, culturally, in the system? Programs in general. Going up to the third eye now, expanding that third eye as wide as possible. What are some of the programs that don't allow us to connect with our intuition? Are these our beliefs, or are we playing out patterns, programs? What lives in this space? Do we have attachments, entities? Taking your attention out to your energetic body once again. You're going to visualize this sphere around your body. You're going to go up to your crown chakra. And you're going to begin to fill that in with your creative color. So this is one of the most powerful ways that we exercise our free will, is by, instead of living as a result of cause and effect, we become creators. So in your crown chakra, there's a wheel, as you know. We're going to fill that in. The intellect, the mind, fill it in with this creative color. If you're new to my channel, you're going to be selecting a color. I want you to see a blank white screen. And you're going to see a color that represents your highest vibrational frequency. And you're going to use that color to fill in the crown chakra. The crown chakra takes the information of everything that's in the physical body and the holographic body and everything that is being sourced from origin, and uses that information to project, almost like an algorithm, to project what you're going to be experiencing. So if in your space you are reinforcing programs of pain and suffering, this is what is being fed into that channel. So we're changing that by now choosing to embody our highest vibrational frequency. And we use color because color is information, it's frequency. They're waves of information. So we are putting that up into the crown. The next is going to be your career, the work that you do. Fill that in. Inhaling deeply and exhaling. The next is family, relationships. Fill that in. Setting the intention that we no longer relate with our family through patterns of trauma. Instead, we create new ways of exchanging information with them. Compassionate, loving. The next is health. Fill that in. Next is your spirit. Fill that in. And finally, your purpose. What are you here to do? Setting the intention that in this moment we are making a choice to embody the purpose that we want in order to embody our highest expression. Purpose doesn't mean you're doing something. It means that you're embodying your highest expression, whatever that is, whatever that translates out to. In the center of the earth, I want you to visualize a color that represents healing for your body. What color is that? What is the color? Whatever color you wish to choose. You're going to visualize from the center of the earth a powerful wave of that color coming up into the body, into the center core, creating a vortex of energy. Inhale deeply, bringing in that powerful river of healing energy into the center core of the body. Very gentle, powerful energy. From the universe, from source, you're going to pull down a powerful wave of cosmic energy that comes down through the crown of your head, down your spine, combining with this healing earth energy at the center core. Breathing, breathing. Pulling in those two life force energies through your body. These energies are an extension of you. You manage this energy. This energy belongs to you. It's an extension of you. Just pull in these rivers into the body. Little tiny physical shell that holds immense soul. You're going to send 10% of that back down to the center of the earth. Go ahead and send that healing and gold color down, feeding the planet Earth, healing Earth, visualizing it going around the center core of the planet, feeding into the earth, clearing the water, holding space for animals to be, all the living organisms, not just animals, all living organisms to be in balance in our environment, in our space. Notice we say holding space, not giving them healing. Because again, free will, we use our intention to create an environment for all living organisms to become aware of themselves. That is the path of a true healer. That's the path of source, of light. There is no ego involved, no identity, just unity expression. Go back to your solar plexus. You're going to pull up a combination 80% up your spine and from the crown of your chakra, coating the outside of your bubble. Inhale, exhale, breathing out, pushing out that healing energy out. We're clearing out any kind of toxic cords that we have outside of us, people, places, and things that no longer resonate with us. They gently dissolve out of our space, allowing them to experience other possibilities of this plane. We take our focus back. As you inhale deeply, visualize that you are calling back all the aspects of yourself that were unaware at any point in time and reference since the beginning of time back to your body. We are waking up the fragments of ourselves. Feel yourself expanding out to those fragments. Where are they? Some of them are in future timelines. Some of you come from other dimensions. Some of you come from anywhere from the 9th to the 13th dimension. And in between, you've existed in all of those dimensions. So see if you can identify and reach all of these fragments. Just becoming aware, like cells of a body that are outside of you. There can be millions. As you become aware of those fragments, we're going to work deeper with them in just a minute. What I want you to do is I want you to go back to your solar plexus and take that final 10% of healing energy and gold energy, and we're going to breathe it up into the spine. And imagine from the palms of the hands, you're going to feel the inside of your body now. So you are your point of reference. You are the center core of all of these fragments. I want you to heal this center core. Healing simply means bringing into balance, bringing into harmony. That's all healing means. So visualize the body absorbing this healing energy into the pores, the flesh, the muscles, the bones, as we speak to those layers of the body that hold and store information. Down to the cellular level of your body. As there are cells in your body, there are fragments of yourself in the multiverse. I want you to visualize that you're going to turn on an internal PA. Okay. It's this big microphone that we're going to turn on. And we're going to direct all our fragments that are unconscious, that are unaware, to wake up, become aware. All the cells in the body listen, from the very last end of the strand of a hair down to the toe, everything in between. Let's wake up. As you walk your mind through your body, as you visualize the organs, the heart pumping away blood into the vessels, the spine, all of these systems waking up, becoming aware. Breathing life into these parts of us that are sleeping. We're going to extend that awareness out to our fragments now. So now, as you inhale deeply, breathe life into those fragments. Breathe life. In dream time, we visit other planes of our existence and other timelines, which we're living out possibilities. Future selves, our past selves, I want you to wake them up. As you wake them up, you're going to feed them this beautiful healing energy that you brought into your body. This unique color, it's unique for everyone. You have your own color. Feed into your fragments as if you are a tree that has roots going down to the earth and then branches that go out to these fragments. Perhaps the fragments look like these leaves that we feed awareness. And as you're doing this, I want you to start noticing, if you can pick up, where you're holding on to stagnant energy. Where are these fragments still holding on to suffering, pain? Are some of them feeling alone, isolated, lost, confused, angry? Fragments past present, future. What's the consensus? What's going on in your party? Hmm? I want you to allow those fragments to release whatever it is that they no longer need. What no longer serves them? Now, let's take a moment to understand what it means to serve us. Sometimes suffering and pain serves us because we learn something through there. We realize things. And the work that you and I do here in this classroom is to learn how they have helped us, to inform us. But once we get the information, we can experience other things. Just like the reincarnation cycle, we keep coming back, reincarnating in the same cyclical patterns. How many times do you have to learn that you're worthy? That's the question. What if you can now choose to experience something else, like expansiveness? Maybe you want to be a floating star in the universe. We are living all these things at once. Now that you have released all of those aspects that no longer serve the fragments, I want you to visualize surrounding your entire organism. Now that you've identified how big you are, you see how huge you are. I want you to surround yourself in a golden sphere of light, you and these fragments, wherever they are in this multiverse. I want you to give them what they need. What do they need? What do they need in order to come into their highest expression so that they can carry out the application of that free will? Freely, without fear, without doubt. Notice if anything or anyone is attached to these fragments that we need to let go of. And what we're going to do is we're going to see a crowd of shadows in front of us. These shadows represents any kind of parasites that we have called into our space. Any kind of agreements that we've made with lower consciousness in times where we were in lower consciousness. We invited them to come in and have a feast. Let's see them in a crowd in front of us. All these shadows. You're just going to visualize shining your crown light on them. If you feel like you're ready to let them go, I want you to visualize dissolving them. Dissolving them. From shadows, they turn to light and dissipate. I want you to inhale deeply, taking back your life force into your body. And as you exhale, releasing anything that you've taken on. Excellent. From source, I want you to bring down a powerful wave of white light that comes down into your center core of your body through the crown of your head. It's going to come into the toes, the ankles, the shins, the calves, the knees. I want you to feel powerful, unconditional love for this body, acceptance, breathing out any kind of shame, guilt, anything that is untrue in this moment for you. Let up into the knees, into the thighs, into the sexual organs, your creative life force, into the lower hips, into the solar plexus, the emotional body. Notice how the body feels like it's coming back into a balanced state now. Going up into the lungs, chest, the heart. Expanding that heart center, radiating unconditional love. You are allowed to love unconditionally yourself. And everything outside of you is a part of you. It's an extension of you, a reflection of you. How immense are you? How powerful are you? By seeing that all things are a part of us, we recognize that they also have their free will to experience suffering or joy when they are ready to suffer, to feel joy. It's free will. We cannot impose our beliefs on anyone. You're going to start with the root chakra. I want you to open that root chakra back into a balanced state, spinning it as fast as possible. Bring this light into the root chakra. Clean it out as if you're shining a hose or pointing a hose of water and letting it spin so fast that anything that doesn't belong there just flies off until it's crystalline ruby red, front and back. Going up to the sacral chakra, open that chakra back into a balanced state, spinning it as fast as possible. Shining the source light, letting all things that no longer serve until it's crystalline orange. Inhale deeply. We are the master of this body. We bring this body into balance. We become conscious, we become aware. Go up to your solar plexus. You're going to open that chakra as wide as possible, front and back, opening the center of emotions back into a balanced state of empowerment, of balance, of willpower. No one can manipulate our emotions because they say something, do something. Only we are in charge. You're going to go up to your heart center, spinning it as fast as possible, clearing out all of those blockages in the heart so that we can love without fear, unconditionally, ourselves. Clear all of that out. Feed into that heart, that white healing light. Clear out all of those fears. The fears of not being good enough, not being perfect, not being loved, not being whatever it is. Going up into the throat, spinning it as fast as possible, clearing out all of those programs, blockages, attachments. Breathing in that white light into that space until it's crystalline blue. Going into your third eye, opening, expanding, clearing, spinning. All those false programs that as a human race, we have been holding shame, fear, of tapping into our intuitive abilities, this natural blueprint of the body that has the ability to see everything. We are whole, we are perfect, just as we are. I want you to repeat in your mind, I am love. I am worthy. I am the Alpha and the Omega. Everything begins and ends with me. I am loved. I am love. And I am lovable. As you recognize the divinity in your perfection, your expression as it is, you're going to go up to your crown and we're going to illuminate the higher levels, becoming aware. The eighth, illuminate the eighth chakra. The ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. Another reason for illuminating these chakras is that, again, we're bringing awareness there. Because sometimes we take on entities and stuff from the higher levels in which we've forgotten. That's our spiritual self, our higher self. So go ahead and gently bring yourself back into the room. And you're going to open your eyes, continuing to see your grounding, your protection, your alignment. And if you can still be aware of all of your fragments and how giant you are. You guys did a wonderful job. Now, I want to answer some questions about free will that are important as you're coming back into your body. There was a question that says, so only real free will we have is to choose to be aware and conscious or not. If we choose to stay asleep, allow programs to run autopilot. That's right. So if we want, we can go back to sleep anytime. We can just go back to our regular life, going into our focusing on our work, on what's here in front of us. We can continue to feel the emotions and get lost in emotions. We can suffer. We can buy into those programs and continue to play them out. So that's the thing. And it's hard for some of us to understand because we think, what do you mean? You're supposed to be conscious and spiritual and this godlike person. Well, maybe that soul doesn't want that. Maybe they're not ready. Maybe they still want to experience or they need to experience that. They have that free will to do so. Even if it's harming another person, everything is cause and effect. The person that was harmed was a vibrational match to that. And these are complex agreements that are made within this giant realm of consciousness and possibilities. So the thing is that we have to remember is that our entire attention has to go to bringing in our awareness into the body. When we are awake, when we are aware, when we are embodying this unconditional love, or when we choose to be conscious, we come into a state of creation. That's a choice. And there's also a lot of responsibility with that. So this segues into the next question that somebody asked. How do we block entities from other loved ones who are challenged mentally and do not know how to engage them? So there's many questions in that one question. First of all, let's talk about the idea and the concept of blocking entities from other people. Now, we can't do that. Again, free will. A person, for example, let's say someone that chooses to do drugs. As soon as you do drugs, you become a host to all kinds of things that come into your space. Because not only are you not able to handle our common reality, but now you're doing something to pull you further away from reality and to experiment other states of consciousness. Meanwhile, your body can become a host based on the vibrational frequency and the intention of the use of that drug. So all kinds of things can come in. And I deal with this all the time. My clients that have ayahuasca trips that have gone wrong, psychedelics, whatever it is. Sometimes these people can end up with schizophrenia or multiple personality disorder as a result of these things because they've allowed themselves to become a host to other entities, attachments, and consciousness. So it's the same thing with alcohol, right? Spirits. It's called spirits for a reason. We allow things to come into our space. We become a match in this three-dimensional plane to that energy. And so everyone has free will. If they want to experience that, they can experience that. It's up to them, right? So we can't protect them. We can, in meditation on the highest levels, we can work with our contractual agreement because guess what? If they're in your surrounding, if they're in your environment, they're a vibrational match to you on some level. You incarnated into this planet Earth to experience emotions, to experience full ranges of everything, suffering, pain, disbelief, anxiety, love. And so our vibrational match as human beings is to experience and be able to learn how to go through these experiences. We can self-destruct or we can create. So let's talk about mental illnesses, which is a huge topic, very important, but I'll tiny tap into that. What we think is mental illness sometimes is a connection for a soul to connect to other planes, to other aspects of consciousness. And sometimes, and this is very general because there's many different kinds, right, of mental illnesses or disorders. But some of these are them merging timelines. And so we look at them and they look like they're in another world. They're acting out, doing things that we're like, oh my God, that doesn't fit this timeline. What are you doing? They are in between timelines. Sometimes they're interconnected. Some of these beings have two souls that they're hosting. And so they are battling between that. These are all experiences. The choice of that soul was to embody that. Nobody comes in without knowing. No one is a victim of their experience. And the sooner we understand that, two things happen. We become empowered in understanding the laws of creation and the dynamics of creation on this planet. And two, you can come into a state of compassion, not just for yourself, but the other person. Allow them to be what they need to be in their full expression, in their full experience, by holding your space. Because if you are constantly feeling bad or sorry or guilt or shame, anger for what happened to the other person, that's on you, my love, because this person chose to come in that way. Our exchange, our responsibility happens when we give our energy, when we give our attention. The moment that we set a meaning to something between two people, we are creating a cord of information. And that cord, there's no right or wrong, right? It's just the intention, the frequency. So if you're coming from a place of lack and feeling that it's wrong, this is going to propagate more of that experience in your life and that relationship. But it may not be true. It may be that this being requires that experience. And you're over here suffering these emotions, which are completely unnecessary. What's necessary for this case, right? There's many different cases. But what's important is the awareness and to ask, what is our contribution to this relationship. So anyway, we'll get into those mental disorders some other time. It's a really important topic. Thank you so much for joining me. Do you guys have any questions?